Hey guys, coming to you today from Termini train station. We are going for a walk from here to the Colosseum. This is the perfect walk for those of you who are staying here in the Esquiline neighborhood and want to walk to the Colosseum. It's also ideal for those of you who might be arriving here at Termini station, perhaps on a day trip, and want to enjoy a stroll from here to the Colosseum. Finally, it's for those of you who might be looking for some unusual things to do in the Esquiline neighborhood. As with all of my walking videos, you could of course find the easiest and fastest route using a map application like Google or Apple Maps. And if you're looking for the fastest way to get from here to the Colosseum, that's going to be by metro. You just take the metro from right here in Termini station to the Colosseum metro stop. That's about a 10-minute ride, and it's literally door to door. If you were to walk from here to the Colosseum, you're looking at about a 30 to 45-minute walk, depending on your pace. But of course, the purpose of today's video is for me to take you along with me and show you some of my favorite secret spots along the route. So let's get started. Depending on where you're starting from, you may want to walk on the outside of Termini station. I'm taking us through the inside because the building itself is really beautiful and there are some things to see and do here, and you might want to walk on the inside anyway for a few reasons. First of all, it's just a little bit quieter, believe it or not, than outside. Second of all, if you are here and it's a little bit inclement weather, it's cold or it's a little rainy, you can walk on the inside. And finally, the direction where we're going on the outside of the station is not very picturesque. There's nothing wrong with it, but there's not a lot to see there, so why not walk along the inside of the station where it's just a bit more picturesque? Guys, this is amazing. Scaturchio is here. This is one of the best places to get sfogliatella in Naples, and there's one right here in the Termini train station, so maybe it's time for a stop. I've talked to you about Mercato Centrale when I did a video for you about spending the day in Florence. This is a wonderful place to get something to eat. Despite it being something of a local chain, there are actually local vendors in each one of the Mercato Centrali around Italy. So in Bologna, you're going to find the local food vendors that are popular there in Bologna, in Florence the same, and here in Rome, you're going to find some of the most popular food vendors here in Rome, like Bonci Pizza and Stefano Caligari's Trapezzino, among many other things. So whether you stop for a sfogliatella here at Scaturchio or Mercato Centrale for a snack, we're going to head outside now and go to our first stop. Secret bathroom tip, there is a clean bathroom here in Mercato Centrale. First stop is the Casa dell'Architettura, which means the House of Architecture. As you can see from the inscription on the top, this was once Rome's aquarium. The aquarium served various functions over the years, including as a theater, a cinema, and a warehouse before it was abandoned in 1984. Today, this beautiful classical building is the Casa dell'Architettura, which serves as a hub for architectural innovation, art exhibitions, and cultural events. I talked about this little park when I did a video for you about my favorite secret parks and gardens in Rome. This is one of them. Look how quiet it is. We are steps from Termini station, and it's an oasis in here. There are some benches where you can sit, and we also have some ruins here from the Servian wall, which dates back to the 4th century BCE. I'm filming this for you in late April, and as you can see, I've taken off my cardigan as the morning gets a little bit warmer. Next stop, Piazza Vittorio. At this juncture, we are standing just on the edge of Piazza Vittorio, which is our next stop. But in this direction is one of the most local food markets in Rome. Most food tours do not take people into this market because it's a little bit too realistic. You'll find animal parts out on display. It's a little bit gritty, but it is a real local food market here in Rome, and if you want to check it out, I suggest you do so. All right, let's head over to the park. This square called Piazza Vittorio is named for King Victor Emanuele II, the first king of a unified Italy. It is the largest piazza in Rome, and the architecture around the sides is really beautiful and worth taking a look at. This park used to be something of an eyesore, but a few years ago it was completely refurbished, and today it is just absolutely beautiful. In the summer, they have outdoor movies and concerts here and art exhibitions. There's a dedicated dog park. There's a place to play basketball. There's a great area for kids to play in with a full playground. As you can see, there are plenty of places to sit and grab some shade. And by the way, surrounding this square are some of the hippest, newest enotecas and restaurants in Rome. You could say this area has become a little bit gentrified, but it absolutely retains its local character. Just a quick word about where we are. The whole neighborhood from Termini to the Colosseum is part of the Esquiline Hill, one of the original 7 hills of Rome. Most sources say that the Esquiline Hill is the highest of the 7 hills of Rome, although there are some sources that say that the Quirinal gets that honor. In ancient Rome, this area was just outside of the clustered residential areas surrounding the Capitoline, Palatine, and Sicilian hills. You can get a really good look of the layout of the Esquiline neighborhood if you visit the Forma Urbis. In ancient Rome, many patricians and emperors had lush gardens here. In fact, on one end of this park is the entrance to the Orti Lamiani. These were once the emperor's gardens, and it's a wonderful archaeological site you can visit. It's only open on weekends at the moment. But right here in this park, we have some remains of some of those lush villas from ancient Rome. So let's go take a look. This giant ruin that you see was once a nymphaeum, or a decorative fountain, under the Emperor Alexander Severus. He was the last of the Severan line, which included the Emperor Septimius Severus, his son Caracalla, and the infamous Elagabolo. A closer look will reveal some interesting things here in this garden. The magic door here in Piazza Vittorio is one of my favorite secret spots. It has a very unusual history. That doorway is all that's left of the Villa Palombara, which was once a villa of a wealthy marquis of the same name. But we need to take a closer look to see what's so unusual about it. It's also called the alchemist's door. Here's why. The doorway was actually crafted in the second half of the 17th century, and it's all that remains of the opulent Villa Palombara, once the residence of the Marquis Massimiliano Savelli Palombara. The Marquis was known to be fascinated with alchemy and esotericism. He apparently shared his passions with none other than Christina, the Queen of Sweden, when she visited Rome. The legend goes that one night in the year 1680, a traveler stopped and spent the night at the villa. This traveler was the alchemist Francesco Borri. It seems that during the night, the Marquis and this traveler, Francesco Borri, came up with a way to make gold. But this was all during the Inquisition, and the authorities were after Francesco Borri. And so by morning, he had fled, leaving behind flecks of gold and a cryptic manuscript with mysterious writings. The Marquis had been spared because of his rank, but he wasn't sure that he would be safe. But he was certain that the writings held the secret to the Philosopher's Stone, and he had the magic recipe engraved on the door. If you take a close look at the door, you'll see planetary symbols, Latin and Hebrew inscriptions, and King Solomon's seal. Of course, to date, nobody has figured out how to interpret this formula. So maybe you can try. All right, it is time for our next stop, a snack. By the way, just at the end of this block is one of my all-time favorite restaurants in Rome, Trattoria Monti. We are approaching Regoli Pasticceria, which is a bakery. It is one of those famous, old-fashioned, been here forever, everyone's favorite bakery here in Rome, and they are famous for one particular thing they do, which is the maritozzo con la panna. A maritozzo is a sweet bun and panna is whipped cream, so this snack, maritozzo con la panna, is a sugar bomb. Romans love this for breakfast. I find it a little bit much, sorry, I just can't quite do it, but it is delicious. As you can see, there is a big queue in front of Regoli, but I'm going to tell you a secret. I have some Roman friends who prefer the bakery across the street from Regoli. Let's head over there and have some snacks. As you can see, the place is full of Romans and no tourists. By the way, I am not dissing Regoli. Regoli is amazing, but if you want to avoid those queues and you want to have a real Roman experience, also where you can just sit outside here on the street like this, D'Amore is the way to go. Those are the bells of Santa Maria Maggiore behind me. Santa Maria Maggiore means Saint Mary Major, and it is the largest of all the Marian churches here in Rome. I absolutely recommend this as a detour. It's physically a detour in the sense that the Colosseum is that way, but I really recommend a visit to Santa Maria Maggiore, St. Mary Major, if you have time. While it's not a secret spot, it's definitely one of the most beautiful things you can see in Rome, and it is one of the most important basilicas we have here in Rome because it is one of 4 papal basilicas. And if you happen to follow any news about Pope Francis, he has chosen to be buried in this church. I even recently did a video for you guys about how you can visit the loggia and the roof. If you want to include this visit in your walk from Termini to the Colosseum and take this little detour, give yourselves an hour, minimum half an hour. On the other hand, what I do consider a secret spot is the church that's right near Santa Maria Maggiore that I find most people have no idea even exists. Saint Praxedes, or Santa Praxedes, along with her sister Pudencia, mopped up the blood of Christian martyrs and gave them a proper burial. The church is built over what was once her home, where she lived with her father, Senator Pudens. Senator Pudens once famously welcomed St. Paul into their home, so this church is really important. The mosaics in the apse are incredibly stunning, but what this church is probably best known for is its Byzantine mosaics in the chapel of St. Zeno. I did a video for you about some of my favorite secret chapels in Rome, and this is one of them. If you want to visit Santa Praxedes, give yourself at least a half an hour. All right, whether you visit these churches or not, from this spot we are going to head over towards the Colle Oppio Park on our way to the Colosseum. And we've reached the Colle Oppio Park, which is still part of the Esquiline Hill and Esquiline neighborhood. I'm going to take you with me through the park and show you just a couple of interesting things to see. If you were to take that street right there, it would take you directly to the Church of St. Peter in Chains, where you can see one of the most stunning sculptures ever made by Michelangelo. So guys, if you look all the way down at the end of this street, you can see the Colosseum. There it is. But I have just a couple more things to show you on the way. In ancient Rome, the fasces, or fasci, were symbols of power, and they were co-opted by the fascist party under Mussolini. We can actually see quite a few remnants of these fasces around Rome. However, in many cases, what you're seeing is just an outline because the fasces themselves have been stripped and removed. Many of you are aware that this park is where the Domus Aurea is, Nero's golden house. I've done a video for you about that, so you can check it out if you want to see what that's like. One of the stories about the Domus Aurea is that after Nero committed suicide, subsequent emperors filled it up and tried to hide it. And as we know, that's one of the reasons why it's so well preserved to this day. In fact, Emperor Trajan built his baths above what was once the Domus Aurea. So here in the park, above ground and for free, we can see the ruins of the baths of Trajan. Of course, I absolutely recommend a visit to the Domus Aurea if you can fit it in. guys know how much I love these little fountains. Well, this one is for dogs. So this cafe here in the Colle Oppio Park is one of those really old-fashioned Roman things to do. It's been here for ages, the Romans love to come here, and the prices are old-fashioned as well. This was once a fountain, but I haven't seen water here in years. In any case, you can enjoy these beautiful amphora sculptures that decorate the sides. At this juncture, we've got the cafe over here and the Colosseum in this direction. Just behind me is the neighborhood of the Celian Hill. Depending on the time you have and the interest level, there are some amazing churches to see in that neighborhood. There's San Clemente with its 2 levels of underground, including a Mithraeum. There's Santo Stefano Rotondo, one of the most stunning churches in Rome, even though the mosaics inside are pretty gruesome. There's the Basilica of Santi Quattro, which has an incredible chapel, which is included in my video about my favorite hidden chapels in Rome. You have the Basilica of Saints John and Paul with the stunning houses of Celio underneath. And just next to that is the newly opened archaeological park with the Museum of the Forma Urbis. But we're going to head straight over to the Colosseum this way, passing the entrance to the Domus Aurea. So this walk would have taken about 30 minutes if we'd just gone straight from the Termini station to the Colosseum directly. If you follow the route that I just did for you, it would take about an hour, hour and a half. And then depending on any churches you might choose to visit, this walk could take up to several hours longer, depending on how much time and interest you have. For lots more videos about the Colosseum, like how and where to get your tickets, how to skip the line, how to avoid cancellations, check out my playlist right here.